Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 241, The Plateau Battle concludes. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The two elders were frail and gaunt, their bodies so thin they seemed as if a gust of wind might carry them away. They lacked the ethereal aura of immortal path experts, their skin stretched taut over bone, looking utterly withered and decrepit. Qin Ming's emotions surged, gratitude and deep emotion welled up. Seniors, he asked, how may I be of assistance to you? The two had done so much for him without asking for anything in return, for they had little time left, their lifespans nearing their end. Yu Zhensheng replied, child, we are old now. We need nothing. Our only regret is that the path of awakening grows dimmer by the day. The condition of the founding ancestors. It's likely dire. Zhao Ziwan sighed softly. Other paths flourish with vibrant talent, but our own path is stagnating, caught between generations. If the founding ancestors were to pass away suddenly, the consequences would be unimaginable. We desperately need someone to take up the banner, to breathe new life into this path, and in you, we see a glimmer of hope. Qin Ming nodded solemnly. All he could do was cultivate diligently and rise as quickly as possible. At the same time, he was desperate to find a way to extend their lifespan. Seniors, he said, I possess the life-altering scripture and half of the sustaining world scripture from the Kui clan. We've tried every method we could think of, the two elders said, shaking their heads. The main problem is our age. We can't advance further on the path of awakening, and our cultivation is stuck. They shook their heads again, thanking him for his kindness, but declined his offer of further assistance. Auspicious beast blood, it must work. Qin Ming declared, his fighting spirit burning with renewed intensity. He couldn't waste time. He had to seize this last opportunity to push himself, outmaneuver all his rivals, and secure 2 more portions of auspicious blood. There is no need to risk yourself for our sake, the elders replied. We are 2 men already on the brink of decay, having long since accepted our fate. Besides, auspicious beast's blood can only prolong our lives temporarily, it won't solve the fundamental problem. As long as it extends lifespan, that's enough. Qin Ming insisted. As they spoke, he and the 2 elders swiftly cleared the battlefield. Some memory crystals were left behind, while others were destroyed in the battle. All former acquaintance. Qin Ming murmured, gazing at the blood-soaked ground. Yu Zhensheng sternly lectured, you're too sentimental, child. There's no room for pity toward these people. Kill them without hesitation. Qin Ming smiled and shook his head. The acquaintance I personally killed, they're now my acquaintance, in a different sense. The 2 elders fell silent. Zhao Ziwan asked, child, your ability to kill a third realm cultivator has truly astonished us. How did you manage it? When they first heard the news, both of them had found it unbelievable, like a fairy tale. Qin Ming didn't hide anything, telling them he had obtained the starfire essence. Yu Zhensheng and Zhao Ziwan gasped, inhaling the night mist. This was truly astonishing, a heavenly treasure, that even senior elders dreamed of, the most precious worldly treasure. Qin Ming admitted he wasn't certain he would refine it, as he had his own plans for his future path and was weighing his options, considering there might be better alternatives. After all, he had already elevated his heavenly light to the 4 imperial forces solely by practicing the extraordinary technique. Internal cultivation, seeking strength from within oneself. When they learned the truth of his situation, their minds trembled. This child was far more formidable than they had imagined. In less than 10 months, perhaps even just 7 or 8, you've reached the second realm. You're a true outer saint, not merely a manifestation. If someone like you can't pave the way for the future awakeners, then no one ever will, and with that, this path would be forever severed. They said. At the same time, both men felt they shouldn't stick to convention. We must nurture him, they decided, such a prodigy can't possibly be spoiled. Yu Zhensheng asked, child, the path you walk is yours to decide. At this moment, is there any particular scripture you need right now? Qin Ming replied immediately, the Wither Flourish scripture. I'll incorporate it into my outer saint domain, and I've already obtained half of it. Good. The 2 seniors nodded, preparing to devise a plan. Is there anything else you require? They asked again. For Qin Ming, more extraordinary techniques were always better. He inquired, may I ask, what scriptures do you 2 seniors specialize in? We've invested the most effort in the Earth scripture. There's also a follow-up secret manual. Upon hearing this, Qin Ming's eyes lit up. This was a field he hadn't explored before, and such an extraordinary technique should greatly enhance his capabilities. When the 2 seniors learned how many extraordinary techniques he had mastered, they felt their scalps tingle, it was simply too many. Could this be dangerous? They were worried. A single extraordinary technique could occupy an awakener's entire lifetime of study. Geniuses could practice more, but he had already mastered nearly 10. This child's growth rate far exceeds our wildest expectations. We'll merely provide the necessary resources and convenience, but let us refrain from offering any unsolicited advice. Outside the third forbidden zone, on this vast plateau, the demons suffered a crushing defeat. Even ancestor-level auspicious beasts were slain, their fate long sealed. Qin Ming fought like a madman, outdoing everyone in his ferocity. He was accumulating rare, blood elixir, for his outer saint domain path, and more importantly, fighting for the life-saving medicine substances the two elders needed. Jin Shang, having re-established contact, galloped forward, pulling the iron-clad vehicle behind him. The golden sheep stared in astonishment, this junior brother was defying heaven itself. Qin Ming's demon-slaying efficiency was terrifyingly high, and he was targeting the most formidable foes. What should have been a series of brutal battles was swept aside by his onslaught. Qin Ming was now a man possessed, fighting with reckless abandon. No one supports my azure cloud ambition. A demon cried out, its voice filled with despair. It had slaughtered countless human cultivators, yet now found itself being slaughtered by the very cultivators it had been besieging. This demon had once had the chance to become a demon seed, but for various reasons, it had ultimately failed, losing by a narrow margin. Consequently, its treatment was starkly different. The plateau's demon seeds had been evacuated in advance, but this one had been left behind. At its feet lay a carpet of corpses. It had killed so many that no one dared approach the area anymore. No one supports your azure cloud ambition. Then I'll send you to the Netherworld. Qin Ming roared as he charged. In the final stretch, he rode his five-colored sword through the air, a five-colored light wheel protecting him. The dazzling sword light dispelled the night mist, making him appear like a youthful deity descending from the heavens. A demon seed, gatekeeper. Equivalent to Li Qingshu's level on the immortal path, Qin Ming judged instantly. At this moment, the Li family members were beaming with joy, their faces radiant with delight. A rumor was spreading across the plateau, the Kui clan had lost several teams. Moreover, a small group of the clan's experts, responsible for intelligence gathering and personnel deployment, had been wiped out in one fell swoop. The Kui clan's allies were stunned. How could this have happened? While others reaped rewards, the Kui clan was losing face. The Li family members were certain their rivals had suffered significant losses. Good thing we were cautious and passed the information to the Kui clan, letting them test the waters. Heh, who would have thought they'd kick a hornet's nest out of nowhere? The Kui clan has run into a brick wall. The Li family members couldn't help but burst into laughter, now detached observers enjoying the spectacle. Soon, they received a secret report. The original source of the news was none other than the Kui clan itself. The Kui clan was trying to use us. How ruthless. Some of the Li family members' faces darkened. They were about to set out on their own, but a few cautious elders had changed their minds at the last moment and presented the grand gift to the Kui clan instead. They had narrowly avoided stepping into a trap. Fortunately, the problem had been kicked back to where it started. At this moment, the Kui clan's experts on the plateau were furious. When they confirmed through information verification that the Li family members had played them, their faces turned ashen. Tension between the two clans quickly escalated. The two great clans had harbored deep-seated resentment for generations. A single spark could ignite the night sky. Soon, the Kui and Li family members clashed repeatedly across the plateau, a mutual pursuit of conflict. Of course, during the demon-slaying campaigns to earn military merits, they couldn't engage in all-out war. Only localized, slightly more severe clashes occurred. It was at this time that some people began to hear the name Qin Ming. Have you heard? Rumor has it that I heard an extraordinary genius has emerged from the path of awakening. Some, upon hearing the news for the first time, found the details about the young man rather vague. But some of his acquaintances were stunned, deeply shaken. Qin Ming. Is that the one we know? Zheng Mao's and Zheng Yuan exclaimed in astonishment. Just a few months ago, Qin Ming hadn't even been qualified to serve as their golden armored guard. How had he risen to prominence so inexplicably? They couldn't believe it. My best brother is here too. He's finally going to shine. Ning Siqi was shocked, then worried. His cousin, Wang Kaiwei, was lost in thought. Lu Junyi, Chen Bingyan, and others wondered if it was just a case of someone with the same name. Brother Ming. Is he about to be exposed? Xiao Wu frowned. The rumors remained vague, lacking any explosive details. Kui Chong sneered, that's his decoy. At this time, he hadn't yet received the latest, confirmed information. Blood dripped from Qin Ming's five-colored sword as he stood over the corpse of the immensely powerful demon, its azure cloud ambition extinguished. Without pause, he continued his relentless pursuit of the scattered demons across the plateau, becoming the region's young demon-slaying star and earning the reputation of a slaughter king in the eyes of many. Gradually, the war cries across the plateau faded into silence, signaling the war's nearing conclusion. In many areas, the conflict had already ended. All right, all forces withdraw in an orderly fashion. No internal conflicts among our own. Any who dares to cause trouble or internal strife during the retreat will face severe punishment from the founding ancestors. A powerful voice boomed through the night sky, issuing a stern warning. Tensions were already flaring between major factions like the Kui clan and the Li family. There's no need to return to Kunling City. War merits will be tallied outside the plateau to ensure fairness and impartiality. Anyone who disputes the results may challenge them publicly. Under the night sky, the various factions rejoiced upon hearing the news, especially the rogue cultivators, who erupted in cheers. Even without the chance to claim auspicious beast blood, they could still claim other rewards based on the number of demon heads they had slain. Otherwise, why would they have been so eager? During every great pioneering era, vast resources were allocated. Beyond the third forbidden zone, this plateau was dotted with secret realms and great demon cave abodes, all of which had already been cleared by the high-ranking figures. The spoils could now be distributed among the lower ranks. Good heavens! That masked man, the one named Li Bai, has an absolutely stellar combat record. He's definitely getting auspicious beast blood, how amazing. Gasp, did you see that? An immortal seed from beyond the mortal realm had his white robes completely soaked in blood, his serene aura transformed into a killing god's aura. Judging by his haul, he could redeem 2 portions of auspicious beast blood. As the team that swept the plateau returned, gasps of astonishment rippled through the crowd. Soon, they saw a golden sheep, even more robust than an ox or horse, pulling a wagon overflowing with demon heads. The crowd's expressions nearly turned to stone. Jin Shang, have you already achieved perfection in tempering your heart in the mortal realm? To have such an absurd harvest? Or are you serving a powerful force? Jin Shang thought to himself, the actual spoils of war are far, far greater than just this. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 242, Full Exposure 2 chapters combined. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Am I seeing things? There seems to be the head of a third realm demon inside that armored vehicle, someone said, their expression grave. A young man from Kunling's local area's eyes reddened as he recognized the old demon's identity. His name is Moxie, white hair, green eyes. A notoriously brutal old demon. My grandfather died at his hands 10 years ago. The golden sheep pulling the cart sparked a heated discussion. Among the demon heads were descendants of a silver clan from the plateau, whose ancestors had once produced a heavenly demon. However, the clan had since declined. Whose team achieved this? Many were astonished by the sheer scale of the spoils. Jin Shang remained composed, quietly, delivering the goods. While people were still talking, he actually turned around and resumed his journey. He hadn't finished the entire delivery yet. If the spoils were lost, a memory crystal could still serve as proof of one's demon-slaying success. However, the higher-ups needed this kind of direct, visible influence. The mountain of demon heads was overwhelming, their sheer presence a formidable display of power. Hiss. An immortal path disciple from beyond the mortal realm has actually slain a fourth realm great demon. This feat is truly terrifying. Is he trying to defy the heavens? This time, participants from all paths achieved extraordinary feats, some of their battle records eliciting gasps of astonishment. When you think about it, it's actually normal. Some of the seeds from the beyond the mortal realm and the esoteric sector said to have attained enlightenment as early as 3 or 4 years old. After cultivating for so long, their realm should be exceptionally high. As teams returned one after another, the area buzzed with excitement, and discussions of these remarkable achievements echoed everywhere. The crowd's eyes widened as they learned that many of the plateau's renowned demons had been slain by these young cultivators. Good heavens, the flying rat has been killed. That bastard was as elusive as the wind, able to hide in the darkest clouds to stalk its prey. It committed several massacres in Kunling City and always escaped successfully, but this time it finally met its end. Soon, it became known that these spoils belonged to Tang Yutian, the divine seed of the esoteric sect. As expected of Sun Taichu's closed-door disciple. Someone distant witnessed that Kui Chonghei's kills were of such high quality, at least 2 portions of auspicious beast blood. Many were filled with envy, they simply couldn't compare. Such individuals came from privileged backgrounds, with masters who were titans of the immortal path, and they themselves outshone their peers. They were the epitome of life's winners. Then, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd as they saw Su Xian from the beyond the mortal realm's immortal land retrieve a mountain-sized pile of spoils from her storage bracelet. An immortal maiden like her, fair-skinned, beautiful, with long legs and such formidable power, if I could marry her, my descendants wouldn't have to struggle for generations. Wake up, don't let your dreams bleed into reality. What's the matter? Are you going to deprive me of my right to dream? Amidst the clamor and awe, Jin Shang returned, pulling another iron-clad cart laden with spoils. Suddenly, the gazes of those nearby shifted. Did he just go to restock? Who hauls back cartload after cartload of severed heads? This was absurd. How many demons did he slaughter? Whose doing is this? No one believed it belonged to a team. The sheer number of heads was overwhelming, and more importantly, many were identified as belonging to renowned demons. Jin Shang, are you serving 3 or 4 elite teams simultaneously? Golden Sheep smiled faintly, striding leisurely with an air of authority, relaxed yet composed. Old Jin, answer quickly. Someone shouted. 1. Jin Shang replied tersely, unwilling to elaborate. He found it too troublesome. If he admitted it was just him, he'd be swarmed and couldn't leave. Even so, everyone gasped. A team capable of this. Judging by these heads and the identities of the renowned demons, this team must be in the second realm. How terrifying. They must be able to exchange for 3 or 4 portions of auspicious blood great medicine, right? By the rules, kills of demons below one's own cultivation level didn't count. Only those of equal or higher level were counted. Hiss, there's actually a quasi-demon seed's head here. I've seen his portrait, he was a peerless genius. To be precise, he was already a true demon seed, just unlucky at the time of selection. His status and position were equivalent to Li Qingshu of the Immortal Path. Shish. Someone quickly silenced him. Many people exchanged wary glances. Is this guy trying to get himself killed? The speaker immediately regretted his words. If the true master himself or someone from Cao Qianzhou's faction overheard, he'd face dire consequences, perhaps even death on the spot. Fortunately, none of them were nearby. All teams returned and began efficiently tallying their spoils. As expected, the atmosphere surged with excitement as everyone eagerly awaited the distribution of rewards. Chu Long, 12 kills of demons at your level. Exceptional performance. Reward, 1 top-grade Heavenly Light Force Secret Manual. Lu Shu, kills of demons. Gasps of astonishment rippled through the crowd. Soon, after the near-immortal seeds battle records were compiled, the accompanying distribution of rewards sent waves of excitement through the crowd. Sun Jingxiao, a disciple of the Beyond the Mortal Realm, earned 1.8 portions of auspicious beast blood based on his actual combat record. He came out with a royal flush, completely overshadowing the rewards of those who came before him. Fortunately, not all immortal seeds and divine seeds achieved such remarkable results. Li Bai, 1 portion of auspicious beast blood. Li Qingshu didn't appear in person, he sent someone to claim his reward. However, the reward distributor recognized the true master and didn't even bother to examine the memory crystal closely. At this moment, Li Qingshu, walking under a different identity, felt remarkably relaxed and at peace. Otherwise, the weight of his responsibilities would have been unbearable. He had regained his confidence. Even after a series of defeats, he refused to wallow in self-pity. He was determined to follow the path of destruction and creation, without lamenting his wasted years. The day of the cocoon's transformation will surely come. In the future, I will blaze a new path. He encouraged himself. The Li family's elder, in charge of the region, a man of great age and status, watched with a complex expression. He desperately wanted to say, "Child, could it be that your masters, breaking and rebuilding, destruction and creation, is just mocking the failures?" After all, Cao Qianzhou had been invincible since his youth. How could he possibly have studied the breaking and rebuilding method? Li Qingyu, 3 portions of auspicious beast blood. The crowd erupted in a frenzy. She was the most dazzling figure among the participants, having secured the most rewards. Soon, people saw the near-immortal seed from the Pure Land. Though her white robes were stained with blood, it only enhanced her otherworldly beauty, giving her an ethereal aura, like an exiled immortal undergoing trials in the mortal realm. She's the immortal maiden of my dreams. I swear, I'd give up 1,000 years of my life, even just to marry her for a single day. She's beyond compare. 3 portions of auspicious beast blood, peerless beauty, formidable skills, and the courage to fight head-on. If only such an immortal maiden were in my family's lineage. Immortal Maiden Qingyu, if your great aspiration is to seek true immortality, I pledge to follow you for the rest of my life and fight for you. Someone shouted directly. Brother, get real. Even trying to approach her this way is pointless. The line of people willing to follow her stretches from here all the way to Kunling City. Everyone could see that Li Qingyu had truly thrown herself into the bloody battles, she wouldn't be covered in blood, exuding that, battle-worn, aura. Soon, it was revealed that in addition to slaying demons, Li Qingyu had also discovered a secret demon monarch's court stronghold. She reported it immediately, narrowly escaping death during the pursuit. Wu Yaozu, 2.5 portions of auspicious beast blood. Xiao Wu was initially pleased, but quickly grew annoyed. Someone had surpassed him, and it was a woman. He was dissatisfied with his own performance. However, since most people didn't know who he was, his announcement immediately caused a stir. Who's this blonde guy? Someone asked. Wu Yaozu had short, golden hair and sharp, rugged features. His face was far from conventionally handsome, but it exuded a striking, heroic aura that left a lasting impression. He's a disciple of the Shan Mountain and River Academy. The old guard in Kunling must be thrilled. Look at them, their wrinkled faces are smoothing out, and they're smiling like a cluster of old sunflowers. Soon, Xiao Wu grew even more irked. Kui Chong, Brother Ming's rival and the immortal seed of an enemy clan, had achieved a slightly higher score than him. Kui Chong, 3 portions of auspicious beast blood. People couldn't help but sigh in admiration. This young prodigy, already a renowned immortal path disciple, had lived up to his reputation. Now, he was truly shining. His demeanor was ethereal and serene, detached from worldly concerns. His brilliant achievements were hard-earned, and it was said he had even slain multiple great demons that surpassed his own cultivation realm. As expected of the one destined to lead our Kui clan to the pinnacle of the immortal path. The elders of the Kui clan nodded repeatedly, their faces beaming with satisfaction. From childhood to the present, Kui Chonghei's performance has been flawless. He had never been defeated and possessed an insatiable ambition to surpass even his ancestors. Yu Zhensheng patted Xiaowu's shoulder. Don't worry. Brilliant combat records don't necessarily indicate the greatest true potential. Some individuals only reach their peak in the mid to late stages of higher realms. You're still in the early second realm, so you'll naturally be at a disadvantage when hunting demons of the same level. Despite this, the high rewards still spoke volumes. Many sighed in admiration. Truly the closed-door disciple of Sun Taichu, Kui Chong. We've long heard of his fame, and now we finally witness his glory firsthand. The crowd grew restless once more, erupting in a clamor. A divine spirit, from a certain sect of the esoteric sect had also performed spectacularly, his achievements rivaling Kui Chonghei's. He had carved a path through a region of the demon race, beheading a staggering number of enemies. Today, people witnessed firsthand the extraordinary capabilities of immortal seeds and divine seeds, and the vast gap between themselves and these prodigies. Several individuals had actually obtained 3 portions of auspicious beast blood. Good heavens, old Yang. It's finally your turn. Did you really kill all these demons yourself? To everyone's astonishment, Jin Shang stepped forward and approached the section designated for second realm cultivators, presenting his combat achievements in exchange for auspicious beast blood. The crowd was stunned. Golden Sheep forced a bitter smile. He was claiming the prize on someone else's behalf, at the request of 2 senior elders from the Shan Mountain and River Academy. He was forcing himself to go through with it. How is this possible? You must be joking. Bring the true master here. The officials responsible for tallying achievements and distributing rewards exclaimed in disbelief. They were dumbfounded. Could this be the work of a single person? Even the renowned Kui Chong, with all his fame, had only managed to exchange for 3 portions of auspicious beast blood. Who is this Shen Wubing, a complete unknown figure? Could he truly surpass the most outstanding immortal seeds and divine seeds? Their immediate conclusion was that he must have cheated. This is going too far. Even if you were faking it, you should have at least been more convincing. Daring to surpass those few is practically advertising your trickery. Are you mocking us? Trying to challenge our bottom line? Hunting alone and still exchanging for 4 portions of auspicious beast blood. The officials found it unrealistic. No such youth should exist, and according to the records, the true master was actually an awakener on the path of awakening. This was even more outrageous. In an instant, those nearby overheard the news clearly. These weren't spoils from several teams, but demon heads personally slain by a single individual. It's a joke. This is too fantastical. Who would dare spread such a sensational claim at this critical moment? Has he lost his mind? Trying to claim the highest combat record through some trickery, without even considering the circumstances. The founding ancestors are still alive and well. Everyone found the claim utterly unbelievable. Logically, 3 units of auspicious blood should have been the limit. In fact, with the most dazzling heavenly prodigy setting the benchmark, who would dare cross that line, let alone surpass it? If you have any doubts, this is a memory crystal, the true combat record can be verified. Yu Zhensheng stepped forward, stepping up to vouch for the true master. He was personally stepping in to support the claim. In an instant, many were stunned. A senior elder had emerged, and he actually endorsed such a record. I, too, believe him. Check the memory crystal. Zhao Ziwan also stepped forward and approached. Jin Shang let out a long sigh of relief. He had been in a truly awkward position, unable to advance or retreat. He knew these were real combat achievements, but no one believed him, and the torrent of criticism was threatening to drown him. How? How is this possible? The person responsible for verifying the combat records had indeed gone to verify them and found it hard to believe. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Could there really be such an incredible young man? The most crucial point was that this young man was neither an immortal seed nor a divine seed, which made his achievements even more inexplicable. He had been completely unknown before. Senior, he's from the path of awakening. Someone hesitated to say. What's wrong with the path of awakening? Yu Zhensheng roared in fury. Who are you looking down on? Zhao Ziwan's face darkened. Their sparse dozens of hairs fluttered in the windless air. Who are these 2 old men? Someone asked quietly, not recognizing them. They're the leaders of the path of awakening at the Shan Mountain and River Academy. Don't be fooled by their aged appearance and bald heads, their strength is terrifying. Look at their hair. Based on that, each of their hairs is equivalent to 10 years of cultivation for you and me. 1. 2. Hiss. Tang Jin, Ling Yu, Xin Yudao, Zhang Ruoli, and other acquaintances all vaguely guessed whose achievement this was. Even with their suspicions, they were still deeply shaken. Tang Jin, in particular, felt as if she were dreaming. Could this genius from Black and White Mountain, whom she had once overlooked, truly have surpassed the disciples on all the other glorious paths with his performance today? While this wasn't a direct measure of potential, after all, demon hunting involved many factors, the fact that he had redeemed the most auspicious blood still spoke volumes. Yu Zhensheng, extremely displeased, demanded, verify with the memory crystal to see if there's any problem. Don't make things difficult for the disciples on the path of awakening. The truth will be clear at a glance, stop wasting everyone's time. He had originally hoped to quickly redeem the rewards and put the matter to rest. But now, some meddlers had stirred up trouble, drawing everyone's attention. This seems to be a genuine achievement, the person in charge of verification said nervously, finding no issues after checking. Yet they still couldn't bring themselves to believe that such a formidable youth existed on the path of awakening. If they mistakenly awarded the rewards and were held accountable by their superiors, they would face severe consequences. Senior, please wait. Someone, afraid to make a decision, ran off to report to higher authorities for approval. You all have a prejudice against the path of awakening, don't you? Zhao Ziwan sighed. He had originally wanted to keep things low-key and avoid making a fuss, but the situation had spiraled out of control. In truth, they had long anticipated this. Qin Ming's exceptional performance was bound to attract attention from higher levels. Several middle-aged men and women arrived, showing great respect to Zhao Ziwan and Yu Zhensheng, both senior figures of considerable standing. We should have the true master come out and see for himself, someone suggested. After verifying the records, they were baffled. What the hell? Did someone on the path of awakening actually pull ahead? 4 portions of auspicious beast blood. That's completely off the charts. Shen Wubing, come here. Qin Ming walked forward, his expression impassive. It really is him. Lu Hanyu, Xin Yudao, Tang Jin, and others stared intently ahead. The legendary figure of the path of awakening. If this is confirmed, he's the true outer saint of the second realm in this era. The crowd erupted in a clamor of discussion. Everyone now knew that a youth from the path of awakening had achieved the highest combat record, securing the most auspicious beast blood. It's him, Qin Ming. Someone from the Kui clan said coldly. Though some had not personally participated in the hunt for the outcast, they had been fully briefed on the operation and were aware of his current identity as a disciple of the Shan Mountain and River Academy. Now, some eyes turned red with fury. This young man had led to the demise of multiple teams, including seed-level squads and even some veteran experts. Interesting. The Kui clan's outcast makes his debut here, haha. Members of the Li family smiled. Having intercepted intelligence, some of them were already aware of his true identity. What Shen Wubing? He's Qin Ming. His background is anything but simple. Someone shouted. This was undoubtedly a public revelation of his true identity. Many didn't know him personally, but they overheard nearby conversations. As for those who knew him, they were utterly stunned. The person who had obtained the most auspicious beast blood was actually their old acquaintance. He's Qin Ming. The one whose skull I shattered. Li Qingshu was the most shaken. Even with his resolve for breaking and establishing, his Dao heart wavered, and his emotions surged violently. See that? That's my brother. Ning Siqi exclaimed, pulling the heavenly prodigies beside him closer in his excitement. Wang Kaiwei was stunned. An awakener can also reach the pinnacle. Kui Chong stared intently at the figure ahead, his eyes deep and thoughtful, remaining silent. This brother is a bit terrifying. Could it be that our sect's ancestor has returned from nirvana and awakening? We haven't seen him in months, and he's improving his realm at the speed of a sprint. No, he's flying. Shang Yiwu muttered to himself. He, too, had obtained auspicious beast blood, but he was still 4 portions short. Senior, we must report this to our superiors, the middle-aged man said. Though they believed the memory crystal's authenticity, they found it hard to accept that this youth could overpower other heavenly prodigies and claim the most auspicious beast blood. What's all the commotion? A crimson great sun materialized, and Pu Heng, Cao Qiancho's senior disciple, manifested his pure yang consciousness spiritual light, descending upon the scene with a cold gaze that swept over the crowd. Qin Ming's heart sank. That old bastard isn't dead. When the Kunlun realm had been thrown into chaos, the founding ancestors had vanished. Only Pu Heng's consciousness spiritual light had escaped, but it had quickly turned to ash. Clearly, his main body had survived. What's there to verify? It's obviously fake. A mere manifestation-level cultivator on the path of awakening dares to act so arrogantly. Who do you think you're fooling? Pu Heng's personality was 7/10 like his master's, domineering and quick to judge. His eyes glinted with malice. Pure yang consciousness spiritual light surging around him, signaling his intent to attack immediately. Pu Heng, don't push it too far. Zhao Ziwan shouted, instantly positioning himself in front of Qin Ming. Oh, you two old fossils are still alive. Pu Heng said coldly. Yu Zhensheng retorted, go to hell yourself. If you're still alive, why would I die? Don't you dare flaunt your master's power here. The area fell deathly silent, everyone frozen in fear. No one had expected that a young man's battle record would draw such a powerful figure, and that a conflict was about to erupt. Pu Heng's face was icy. You two old things don't have many years left. Do you really dare to gamble at all? If you want to hasten your decay, I'd be happy to help. Yu Zhensheng rolled up his sleeves. Bring it on. Hey. Pu Heng chuckled, his voice like glacial ice, sending shivers down everyone's spines. The oppressive aura he radiated was almost unbearable. He extended a finger, aiming it at Qin Ming. Knowing how much the two elders cared for the young man before them, he sought to strike down this prodigy first, inflicting the deepest pain. Zhao Ziwan and Yu Zhensheng naturally would not allow him to extinguish the hope of the path of awakening. Suddenly, a golden radiance streaked down, striking the crown of Pu Heng's head. HMPH, does even a feathered beast dare to act out? Pu Heng said coldly. The crimson great sun seethed, unleashing several scarlet immortal lights. The golden strange bird had forcefully clashed with his pure yang spiritual light, and its wing strike had erupted with the sound of thunder and wind. Zhao Ziwan and Yu Zhensheng were astonished. They had long sensed this golden strange bird lurking above the clouds, seemingly following Qin Ming and protecting him all along. You dare attack me? I'll kill you. Pu Heng declared. Who do you think you're killing? A figure appeared on the plateau, shrinking the distance with a single step and teleporting instantly. A massive hand reached out toward Pu Heng within the crimson great sun. You again. Pu Heng's eyes turned glacial as he desperately expanded the great sun. Yet the massive hand plunged in, crushing his arm. With a resounding bang, it seized his head. As the hand tightened its grip, the crown of his skull clearly began to split. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 243, A Major Event 2 chapters combined. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The crowd was stunned. Who was this man? With white hair and rough hemp robes, he reached into the blood-red sun and immediately injured Pu Heng. Pu Heng's status was exceptionally high, he was known as Little Cao Qianzhou. He had meticulously imitated his master in every aspect, and objectively speaking, his cultivation was terrifyingly profound. His pure yang consciousness spiritual light radiated outward, causing many bodies to tremble involuntarily. Yet, this man who stood beneath the founding ancestors' steps was now suffering a crushing defeat. His skull was cracking open. Everyone froze, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Qin Ming's heart surged with excitement. Senior brother Lu had indeed come. On that day, Lu Zizai had simply said, I will stake everything on the auspicious beast's blood to ensure your fairness. Now, he had come to fulfill his promise. Calm, confident, and powerful, he pressed down on Pu Heng with one hand. Pu Heng's eyes burned with hellish malice, sending a bone-chilling dread through all who met his gaze. Around him, the crimson great sun seethed, runes flashing within his consciousness spiritual light, transforming into countless light swords that sought to shred the massive hand. On Lu Zizai's arm, the heavenly light force bloomed with overwhelming brilliance, surpassing even the blazing sun. One after another, the falling swords of light were shattered and ignited. Splat! Pu Heng's head exploded. Under the eyes of all present, Lu Zizai crushed his skull with a single squeeze. The event was comparable to a volcanic eruption or a hurricane's passage, causing the plateau to tremble. That was Cao Qianzhou's personal grand disciple. Someone exclaimed in shock. More faces turned pale, bodies swaying as they retreated rapidly into the distance. The oppressive aura at the storm's center was suffocating. Red glows bloomed across the night sky, Pu Heng's consciousness spiritual light recondensing. This was the terrifying nature of the immortal path. Once one reached the pure yang realm, they gained a semblance of immortality. Even if torn apart or blown to bits, they could still reappear. Lu Zizai. Pu Heng's colossal face materialized, its red glow illuminating the pitch-black sky with crushing pressure, reminiscent of the sunsets of the old world, painting half the heavens crimson. Aside from the ancestor-level figures, he was considered one of the foremost experts, yet he had been so easily handled by Lu Zizai, subjected to a humiliating head-pat kill. There was no worse experience than this. Pu Heng couldn't remember the last time he'd experienced such humiliation. High in the sky, his consciousness spiritual light erupted, spreading across the heavens like a vast net. In the distance, it looked like chunks of otherworldly meteorites, burning as they pierced the night sky, leaving long, fiery trails as they plummeted toward the figure below. Many felt their own insignificance and trembled in fear. Now, Pu Heng needed no words. As Cao Qianzhou's greatest disciple, only by destroying his opponent could he wash away the humiliation he had endured. Lu Zizai stood calmly on the ground, making a motion as if drawing a sword from behind his back. Though nothing had been there moments before, now a brilliant heavenly light surged forth from his spine, accompanied by the sound of dragon roars. With a clang, a great sword materialized, drawn from his back, a weapon forged from the light of a blazing sun. The crowd gasped as a colossal great dragon soared into the sky, its massive form radiating an indestructible sharpness that pierced the heavens. Grabbing its tail, Lu Zizai swung the dragon's sword, cleaving the night sky. In that instant, all the meteor-like strands of consciousness spiritual light exploded, reduced to ash by the dragon's blazing light. Then, with a splat, the colossal face in the sky was split in two. And then, it exploded. Pu Heng let out a pained groan. This time, a portion of his consciousness spiritual light had been permanently destroyed, and even his immortal traits hadn't been fully held. In an instant, the shattered pure yang power violently vibrated across the night sky. The consciousness energy, like a crimson sunset, raged uncontrollably, sweeping across heaven and earth in a spectacle far more terrifying than any hurricane. The earth tore open, and the night mist churned violently, its effects spreading far and wide. Pu Heng's pure yang light transformed from its humanoid form into a swirling mass of clouds and mist. It billowed like wind-whipped clouds, drawing down the nine heavens pure qi and channeling the great earth vein qi. He was linking heaven and earth, creating a grinding mill of cloud and mist. One disk pressed down from the night sky, the other rose from the ground, both spinning wildly in a desperate attempt to crush his opponent into a bloody pulp. This grand spectacle sent tremors through the hearts of many. Even from afar, they felt as if they were caught in the midst of it, fearing they would be annihilated along with it. Amidst this chaos, Lu Zizai stood motionless, the colossal dragon sword in his hand having vanished. People gasped. As the nine heavens pure qi and the great earth vein qi merged, heaven and earth seemed to rapidly converge, threatening to merge and destroy everything in their path. Lu Zizai struck upward toward the night sky with one hand and downward toward the earth with the other. The dense nine heavens pure qi exploded in a thunderous blast, and the great earth vein qi shattered into fragments. Everyone stood stunned, utterly overwhelmed by the spectacle. The massive cloud mist millstone, seemingly representing heaven and earth, was pierced through by the tiny figure at its center, causing it to shatter with a thunderous explosion. Pu Heng's colossal face reappeared, dimmer than before, a portion of his pure yang consciousness spiritual light permanently extinguished. Yet, the moment he materialized, he was struck again. Lu Zizai's heavenly light force surged upward, transforming into a massive hand in the night sky, its form mirroring the pure yang consciousness spiritual light. With a resounding slap, it struck Pu Heng's face. Red glow erupted across the sky as the giant face shattered. Pu Heng took the full force of the blow, as if engulfed by an endless sea of fiery clouds. You! Pu Heng's voice trembled with fury at being slapped in front of everyone. Lu Zizai had publicly slapped him, a strike both physically devastating and deeply humiliating. The entire region was stunned. No one had anticipated such a turn of events. You have quite the face, Lu Zizai said. He then gazed calmly at the night sky and continued, who gave you the audacity to claim those battle records were false achievements? Do you really think you can cover the sky with one hand and twist black into white? Lu Zizai's white hair cascaded down, his demeanor even more weathered than before. Qinming knew this was the old body he sought to shed, not a new one. The crowd's emotion surged as he stood up for the young man on the path of awakening. An outer saint youth had actually drawn the attention of such a prominent figure. Qinming's public revelation sent shockwaves through the crowd. Many heard his name for the first time. Before this, he had been virtually unknown. In Kunling, the geniuses from various academies were astonished. They realized with shock that they had met this Qinming before, during their exploration of the secret realm, and had rejected his request to team up. Except for a few like Zhang Ruoli, Lu Hanyu, and Gan Jincheng, the other geniuses only learned of his terrifying background today. For a moment, they froze. Recalling their past interactions, when they had dismissed him as a burden and accused him of feigning enlightenment, they now felt their faces burn with shame. And that Wu Yaozu was also one of those youths from that day. Zhao Muyao, Wang Liji, and the group of top-tier geniuses were stunned. The two youths they had politely refused had both obtained more than 2 portions of auspicious beast blood. In fact, Qinming's achievements even surpassed those of the immortal seeds and divine seeds. Do you intend to oppose my pure land? Pu Heng's massive head, like a great mountain, spoke, causing the night sky to tremble. Many felt their hair stand on end, as if the very heavens and earth were about to collapse. Do you truly represent the beyond the mortal realm? Lu Zizai asked. He raised his right hand, his 5 fingers glowing. Each finger shot forth a beam of heavenly light force, as brilliant as a blazing sun. These 5 golden chains of light shot across the pitch-black night sky, spreading rapidly. Pu Heng's consciousness spiritual light, usually formless and elusive, now felt strangely locked down, as if a cage had been placed around it. He surged upward, desperate to escape. But the 5 golden chains of heavenly light transformed into 5 massive golden dragons. Shedding their connection to Lu Zizai, they plunged into the depths of the clouds and mist, relentlessly pursuing him. With a swish, the 5 dragons coiled around Pu Heng, binding him tightly. They swiftly dragged him downward. This scene sent a jolt of fear through all observers. The Lu Zizai on the path of awakening seemed to possess godlike powers. Was his heavenly light no different from pure yang consciousness spiritual light? Pu Heng was seething with rage. In just a brief exchange, nothing had gone his way, and he had suffered repeated setbacks. Now, he found himself completely restrained. He struggled violently, his form transforming into a blazing red great sun that burned fiercely, trying to break free from the shackles. 5 dragons reared their heads, tightening their grip on him. Their jaws tore at the great sun, shredding it and dragging him down toward the plateau. Many were stunned. How could Pu Heng have been captured so quickly? The Immortal Path disciples stood numb with disbelief. Weren't they supposed to have every advantage, looking down on all the awakeners? What they had witnessed today shattered their worldview. The impact of this white-haired youth named Lu Zizai was simply too overwhelming. Meanwhile, those on the path of awakening felt an unprecedented surge of excitement. For the first time, they sensed, our path can be this powerful. After all, Lu Zizai hadn't defeated an ordinary outsider, but the first disciple of the renowned Cao Qianzhou. Such a feat carried immense prestige. Lu Zizai, are you going to wage war against the immortal path for a mere boy on the path of awakening? Pu Heng asked, already fallen to the ground. 5 great dragons bound him, their chains unbreakable, no matter how he transformed. A chill ran down his spine. You're not worthy, Lu Zizai said, slapping him with such force that Pu Heng exploded on the spot. This time, however, Pu Heng's disintegration failed to allow him to escape. The 5 great dragons still trapped him, confining all his consciousness spiritual light within their bounds. Pu Heng's radiant red glow dimmed further. Even his supposedly immortal essence couldn't withstand the relentless attacks. If this continued, he would be worn down to death or perish suddenly. You lack Cao Qianzhou's destiny, yet you've inherited his illness. Do you think you can show off your dominance? Your hostility toward our path is too intense. It must be struck down, it must be severed. As Lu Zizai spoke, the 9 phoenixes coiled around his leg, their glow blinding. He kicked out, and with a thunderous explosion, Pu Heng was blown to pieces. Many watched with wide eyes, stunned by this ruthless display. To kick Pu Heng into oblivion, it was utterly shocking. Pu Heng, so arrogant and dominant for so long, had finally met his match. His capture and brutal beating sent shockwaves through the crowd, stirring up a mix of emotions. Some were deeply moved, others were fired up with righteous anger. Only Pu Heng knew the full extent of his devastating loss. Lu Zizai's attack had been terrifyingly powerful, capable of severing his immortal essence. He had already lost 20% of his pure yang consciousness spiritual light. If this news were to spread, it would undoubtedly strike fear into the hearts of outsiders beyond the mortal realm. What gives you the audacity to scorn our path of awakening? Lu Zizai asked, his foot planted firmly on Pu Heng's chest as he loomed over him. Without a doubt, this image would be seared into the minds of everyone present. No matter how many years passed, Pu Heng would never be able to wash away this humiliation. Do you wish to sever the path of awakening? Lu Zizai inquired. The resources of this world were limited. Even the living conditions for ordinary people remained poor, while the population continued to swell. The fire springs were already insufficient, these were grave problems. Moreover, the various paths competed fiercely for resources, which was why the high-ranking figures were preparing for the great pioneering era. The path of awakening lacked the same number of powerful cultivators as other paths, but its base was vast. This was because many ordinary people could follow this path without needing any special innate talent. The prospects of the path of awakening were indeed dim. For ordinary people, the only way to strengthen themselves in the first stage was through awakenings. From the second realm onward, their progress became even slower. The Cao Qianzhou faction harbored more than just a prejudice against the path of awakening, their hostility was evident in their suppression of the overlord. Pu Heng had naturally been influenced by his teacher. A silver mace materialized in Lu Zizai's hand. With a resounding crash, the person beneath him exploded. Pu Heng's pure yang consciousness spiritual light shattered repeatedly. Beyond the humiliation, he felt a chill of dread. If this continued, he would face a life or death tribulation. Lu Zizai fell silent, focusing solely on crushing Pu Heng and obliterating his pure yang consciousness. Many onlookers realized he was intent on crippling him. Lu Zizai, show some mercy where you can, an elder interjected. His silver hair cascaded over a pale face, and his eyes held profound depth. The Immortal Path disciples were stunned. Another major figure had arrived, Wei Yunqi, the second disciple of Sun Taichu, and the foremost figure beneath the founding ancestor. This punishment is insufficient. Lu Zizai declared. Lu Zizai, even the 6th imperial ancestor is failing. How dare you act so presumptuously? Release my senior brother. In the distant sky, 2 blinding beams of light appeared, like comets from beyond the heavens, hurtling toward the pitch-black earth with an aura of destruction. The hearts of the people trembled. Some of the experts recognized that within those 2 masses of pure yang consciousness, spiritual light were the 2 most powerful disciples of Cao Qianzhou. They arrived in an instant, striking toward Lu Zizai. At the same time, Wei Yunqi, the second disciple of Sun Taichu, stepped forward, his consciousness spiritual light illuminating the sky. Trying to gang up on me. Bring it on. Yu Zhensheng and Zhao Ziwan stepped forward, their wide sleeves billowing. With a thunderous roar, they shattered the night mist, confronting the two descending figures. For a moment, the area was filled with heavenly light, pure yang power surging as several experts clashed violently. It's fine. You two, retreat. Let them all come. Lu Zizai declared. Simultaneously, he struck Wei Yunqi back with one palm and lifted Pu Heng with the other. Ah! Pu Heng cried out in agony, a sound utterly at odds with his usual domineering and forceful demeanor. He struggled violently, his voice like a wail of despair. Everyone's expressions changed. Was Lu Zizai planning something big? He unleashed a thunderous technique, utterly brutal, seizing half of Pu Heng's consciousness spiritual light in his hand. The six imperial force erupted, its flames scorching the sky as they ground and dissolved the red glow, determined to obliterate it. Finally, Pu Heng's dim figure coalesced anew in the night sky, his power drastically diminished. He had lost 60% of his pure yang consciousness spiritual light, leaving him half crippled. How dare you do this? Pu Heng's two junior brothers supported him, their faces contorted with shock and rage. Lu Zizai replied calmly, so, only your lineage is allowed to act with impunity while others are forbidden to retaliate, is that it? Today, I won't indulge you. I'll break you of your rotten habits. Standing with his hands behind his back, he dismissed Yu Zhensheng and Zhao Ziwan, facing the four top experts alone. Some of the more perceptive old-timers realized that something major was about to unfold, the storm had only just begun. Lu Zizai's intervention on behalf of the young man might just be the spark, a deliberate move to shatter the day's silence and establish the path of awakening's authority. Indeed, this might only be the first wave of his offensive. Something even more terrifying was likely to happen soon. Wei Yunqi spoke, Lu Zizai, aren't you afraid of provoking a conflict between the two paths with such a heavy-handed move? Yu Zhensheng, his temper flaring, couldn't hold back. Who's the one provoking? The true combat records of our Path of Awakening's young prodigies are there for all to see in the memory crystals. Anyone with eyes can see it. Yet that bastard Pu Heng not only tries to smear our name but also attempts to stifle the talents on our path. How dare he? How utterly arrogant. Zhao Ziwan sneered. How laughable. He tries to cover the sky with one hand, but he doesn't have the strength. He's just making a fool of himself here. Instantly, red glow surged around Pu Heng. Despite his severe injuries, he wanted to lunge forward and tear the two old men apart. If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. Otherwise, you'll die, Lu Zizai said calmly, his gaze fixed on Pu Heng. Pu Heng and his two junior brothers felt a suffocating rage building in their chests, a bitter bile they couldn't spit out. Normally, they were the ones who made others miserable, daring to be angry but not to speak. But now, someone was even more overbearing than they were, pushing them beyond their limits. Attack. In an instant, Pu Heng's two junior brothers surged forward, two great suns hanging in the sky, illuminating the night like day as they charged ahead. At that moment, Lu Zizai's true body remained motionless. Four streams of intense heavenly light erupted from his form, each transforming into a humanoid shape. These four figures radiated boundless light, their heavenly light piercing the night sky. Some wore imperial crowns, others held jade tablets, and seals of authority hovered around them. All exuded majestic authority as they trod on space, ascending into the heavens. In that instant, Pu Heng and his two junior brothers, along with Wei Yunqi, Sun Taichu's second disciple, were all blocked. Heavenly light can merge with consciousness and even achieve spirit travel. The cultivators on the path of awakening watched this scene with excitement, seeing a glimpse of the future. Four imperial forces. Some senior elders wore grave expressions. Even Wei Yunqi, Pu Heng, and the others paled slightly. Is this the four imperial forces from the six imperial ancestral court? A young man asked his grandfather. No, these represent four domains, or you could say the four supreme beings at the apex of the pyramid. He's manifesting them with heavenly light. How terrifying. On the plateau, everyone was stunned. Lu Zizai's true body remained motionless, transforming into the four imperial forces to confront the four powerful experts. In an instant, they vanished from sight, plunging into the depths of the plateau and soaring to the black, swirling clouds above. There, they unleashed a battle of unimaginable terror. No one could have predicted that things would escalate to such a point. All eyes were fixed on the distant battle. Though they longed to witness the clash, none dared venture into the plateau's depths, fearing collateral damage. The distance was too great for clear observation. All they could see were the black clouds occasionally torn asunder, the night mist dissipating, and blinding beams of light, thicker and more dazzling than lightning, streaking across the sky. The crowd was torn between terror and an overwhelming desire to witness such a high-level confrontation, their hearts clawing at their chests. Soon, many gazes turned to Qin Ming. It now seemed highly probable that his true combat prowess would earn him 4 portions of auspicious beast blood. Mentioning his name alone might not ring a bell for many, someone whispered in the shadows, but if you speak of his origins, I bet some of you have heard of him. He's the Kui clan's outcast. The region erupted in shock. Could there really be such a hidden truth? In fact, some of the major noble clans knew about this, particularly the Kui, Li, and Wang clans. The members of the Kui clan wore grim expressions, their hearts churning with discomfort. A mere substitute, an outcast, was now the center of attention, having obtained the most auspicious beast blood. How would outsiders view the Kui clan after this? They felt as if they had been slapped across the face, deeply humiliated. The situation was particularly mortifying, happening in front of so many acquaintances. The matter they had suppressed for so long was now being exposed again. Back when Qinming was still unknown, before his rise to prominence and before he achieved anything remarkable on the path of awakening, Meng Xinghai had protected him. Mr. Kui and others had spared his life but warned him never to return to his former circles or face his former acquaintances. Yet today, his name was being broadcast far and wide, against his will. Qinming finally revealed his true face, standing there with dignity. Instantly, both acquaintances and strangers alike wore expressions of surprise. How could such a youth have been abandoned by the Kui clan? No one can really blame the Kui clan, someone said. Before stepping onto the path of awakening, who could have known how many times his body would mutate? This path is truly mysterious, the mutations in his bone structure have nothing to do with the comprehension he first displayed. However, many eyes turned toward the Kui clan, feeling their loss was too great. Is that really him? How is this possible? Zheng Mao's and Zheng Yuan stared wide-eyed, as if they had seen a ghost. In just a few months, the man had risen so rapidly, as if he had undergone a complete transformation. Boom! Deep within the plateau, lightning flashed, thunder roared, and gale winds raged. The dark clouds overhead were shattered, completely torn apart. 4 figures, dim and tottering, began to flee. How could this happen? Cultivators along the immortal path watched in stunned disbelief as Wei Yunqi, Pu Heng, and others fled in retreat, pursued by the 4 imperial forces and heavily wounded. How had this happened in such a short time? Weren't we told that experts on the immortal path dominate the later stages? Why has Lu Zizai become so overwhelmingly strong? Many on the immortal path found this outcome difficult to accept. 4 against 1, and they still couldn't win. He's a true enigma, a unique case, a senior elder murmured with a sigh. Legend has it his innate talent surpasses even that of the 6 imperial ancestors. The crowd on the path of awakening watched with fervent eyes. They hadn't witnessed such a thrilling, high-stakes battle in years. The seniors on their path, long dormant, were finally revealing their dazzling brilliance. You think luring me away will let you overturn the heavens? In the distance, a blood-red great sun materialized in the sky, instantly dispelling the night mist across the plateau. Its blinding, terrifying light caused many to tremble uncontrollably. Cao Qianzhou had arrived. Everyone's scalp tingled. Even those from the beyond the mortal realm felt far more fear than reverence toward him. His reputation was too vast, too infamous, a figure loathed by spirits and despised by demons, his legacy overwhelmingly negative. Yet, though everyone cursed and hated Cao Qianzhou in their hearts, everyone also longed to become him. Do you dare to use your seniority to bully the young? Along the path, a blazing sun rose, a figure transformed from pure heavenly light, its golden radiance blazing in all directions, its aura terrifyingly potent. The 6 Imperials have personally arrived. An elder gasped. Indeed, all the signs had pointed to this day. Someone was clearly planning something big. Those on all paths immediately began speculating, strongly suspecting that the founding ancestor of the Path of Awakening, nearing the end of his lifespan, was about to make a final, brilliant stand to forge a harmonious future. Lu Yu, calm your anger. What need is there for such fury? Sun Taichu appeared, standing in the heavens and strolling toward them. Though his words seemed impartial, it was clear he stood with Cao Qianzhou. A cold snort shook heaven and earth, as if the very sky had torn open. A terrifying curtain of light materialized, as if a giant capable of holding up the heavens was striding forth. Hiss. The Qingtian has arrived. Even the grand figures of the esoteric sect showed shock. We've been in seclusion for years. Have you come to think that the Path of Awakening no longer has its founding ancestors? Another radiant great sun rose from the horizon, formed from heavenly light, scattering the night mist at the edge of the sky. The entire plateau trembled violently. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.